But I am on here with my special guest, Miss Sheree Harper. Everyone say, what's up, Sheree?
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
No, thank you so much for coming on here. It means the world to me that you came on here because I need to tell y'all a couple of things. I even had it in my handy dandy notebook. First of all, she's an Alabama native and she's a freelance dancer. I don't know if you checked out her page yet, but she's sick with it. She's a member of the Actors Equity Association, which is kind of how I met you. She's pretty much the face of Disney, all things Disney, because you've seen her in so many different shows, such as Beauty is in the Beast, live on stage, Hocus Pocus, Villains Spectacular, and also another show that is near and dear to my heart, which is Harambe Nights. She was Nala, and that's the Lion King concert in the wild. I think, what was that, the 20th anniversary of the Lion King? So it was the 20th anniversary of the Lion King, and basically we had a different celebrity narrator each night, and it was a live showing of, you know, live singing, dancing. So we were the dancers together, and yeah, she's pretty much a beast with it, y'all. Oh, and now, girl, no, you're a beast with it, and now she is working towards getting being a Pilates teacher. So everyone, welcome my guest, Sheree.
Hi. Again, I'm really excited to I feel like it's just a chit chat, you know, with my friends. So I'm grateful because I enjoy your platform and I love everything that you're doing. So, you know, I support you 100. So thanks for having me, for real.
Oh, thank you for coming, sis. So also, I've noticed in your bio that you were a stunt double for a lead actress in the ABC television remake of Charlie's Angels. Ma'am, how did you, first of all, how do you keep, before quarantine and all this stuff, how did you maintain all of these bookings?
Oh, it was a lot. I mean, and I'm grateful, like that booked and blessed sensation, that feeling, like that's definitely been my life. And it's interesting because now that we've hit a halt, I'm like, did I do everything like before? Am I done? You know, it's just kind of strange. But it was things that I didn't seek out. That particular gig came from, you know, working at Disney at the time. And I had a friend who I guess was in the stunt double things. I know her boyfriend was. And they were looking for someone who looked similar to this actress, you know, Annie Alonze was her name, or is her name, Black actress, with some sort of martial arts background. So she was just asking around, you know, people at the stage. There's only a few of us, so she wasn't like asking very many people. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, Sheree, any martial arts? And I'm like, yeah, I have a black belt in Taekwondo. She's like, what? Like, why didn't we know this first of all? She was like, but I'm glad I asked you. Girl, the next day, I was headed to Miami after some talks. Like, I chatted with Darla, and I'm like, what do I do? Because what if this happens? I have to call into work. And I'm that very, like, detail-oriented. I need to be honest with everyone. I don't know, because dance is my love. But I want to explore this new, you know, avenue. So I went, was able to get in front of the stunt directors. And, you know, we, like, legit went into movement-based, like, sparring and combat. They asked me a few different things, met the actresses, you know, they're like, no denying you look like her, but like, is this going to be a match? Is this going to work out? Because mind you, black belt, but it had been a while, like since, you know, like back in the high school. I leave, I go back to Florida, back to Disney, get the call, you got the gig, we need you here at XYZ. I had to take a leave of absence from Disney, go there, but I was still going there throughout the week, going to dance at Beauty and the Beast on the weekends. So it was a whirlwind, sis. Miami to Orlando, like back and forth.
Ooh, well, since you were booked for all of these things, obviously you had to stay in shape. And with you working towards being a Pilates instructor, how has, you know, Pilates assisted in that way, or what are some things you did to stay in shape during that time?
So there was, with the stunt training alone, there's a specific sort of like regimen that they want you to do, you know, to keep up, you know, with your body, as well as like what you're eating. Because mind you, you were cast to look like somebody who, you know, if you came looking that way, you need to stay that way. So from the food that's on set to just knowing, you know, I have to, like, in the ways in which I have to maintain this, I can't maybe gain weight, lose weight, or get too muscular or too whatever. So it really broke its way down to like the mental aspects of movement for me. And I think that's where Pilates comes in and aids me so much, because you get into a flow. It increases your flexibility, your mobility in general, your mental awareness, and just how you strengthen your body. That's not like, you know, like the weightlifting aspects of things.
Right.
And so there are apparatuses used in Pilates practice, but I mean, it's stuff that you can grab at the house, you know, just to like help you in that practice as well, to make it more convenient and accessible.
Well, since you're into Pilates now, were you into it as much back then? And if you knew what you knew now back then, would you have taken more Pilates back then?
I would have. And I wasn't that, you know, I wasn't as into it. I was introduced to it when I went to grad school. I went to Florida State, and there was a whole like Pilates and gyrotonic studio. Like, fortunate, because otherwise, you know, this little black girl from Alabama wasn't, you know, like, what's Pilates? You know, it was a part of my program, a class that I wanted to take. We also talked about health and nutrition in that class, and I fell in love with it. Now, what happened is, once you venture out of that, I like went right into the professional world. But between my schedule being so busy, as well as just, you know, I'm making good money, you know, as a dancer, which is, you know, decent and it's great, but Pilates is expensive. So it's not as accessible as I feel like it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lull for sure in between. But had I really been in my conscious mind, like, okay, homie, you want to move forever, because here I am in my 30s. I just think of how much more mobile and, you know, like detail oriented from mind to body I would be, having continued Pilates. So it's worth the investment. Definitely.
Girl, first of all, you're already mobile, because looking at your dance videos, I'm like, dang, she still got. Let me go stretch real quick.
I know you're not talking. You stop, because you already know I need private lessons, but we'll talk about that.
That's because I can do other stuff. But as far as my stretching, I feel like as a dancer, I wish I would have utilized Pilates more. I wish I had more access to it. And I also wish they would make it more accessible to professional dancers and professional athletes more often, because I feel like it would give them longevity. Plus, you'll be able to produce the best show because your dancers are in tip-top shape.
They are. Or if they're going through Pilates for rehabilitation purposes, it still is not just like that quick fix. Like, it's really like you want to keep with this and maintain. So learning it on the front end, maintaining it, and on the back end of, you know, injuries sometimes are inevitable. But that's something that I feel like if I had to pick anything you were going to cross train with, Pilates. I mean, I say for athletes, this isn't just women either. This is men, women, you know, everybody. So
some of these comments are one of these comments are quite hilarious. Someone mentioned that, and she deadly too.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Also, can we talk about, I'm just going to jump back really quick. I'm going to come back to the Pilates thing and taking care of ourselves from the inside out. But can you do you remember your experience with Harambe Night? How did you get the role? I know how you got the role of Nala, but please tell these people how you got the role of Nala.
You might need to tell me, because it's a blur. As much as I was there, that was one of the hardest working moments of my career. We have a Broadway choreographer, like dancer choreographer, and, you know, his brother, who is the same. Like, first of all, it's intimidating, you know what I mean? But you're like trying to come in, giving and putting your best foot forward. But that was a process. What did we find out like the week before? Who was not, like, it wasn't. I feel like we were working towards who gets what's happening the entire time. So honestly, I'm not lying. I don't know. I just feel like I wanted it really, really bad. I saw Lion King, the Broadway version, traveling. I saw it in Toronto when I was younger. My mom took my sisters and I'm getting emotional. But at the end of it, like younger, I was like, Mommy, Like, I was like, I'm going to do that. She said, yes, you will, baby. Never in life would I imagine it been that way. Girl, I auditioned for Broadway's Lion King. I can't tell you how many times. Know it front, back, side to side. But it manifested itself in such a beautiful way. Like, that is really like a highlight of my career. So, again, I don't know how I got it, but
I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you how she got it. Okay, it was in her from the beginning, and it was an honor actually how she was selected for this part because we got to work with award-winning, Tony Award-winning Warren Adams and his brother Christopher Adams.
mm-hmm.
And you remember, I think my first day coming in there, I'm like, I think I'm in the wrong place. Like, am I supposed to be here in this
Yes.
vicinity with so much greatness? So the way he did it was he didn't necessarily tell us we were auditioning. He just made us dance. And when I tell you, the minute he taught us Nala's part, it was almost like, wow. You couldn't, like, the room just, it felt like the room kind of stopped moving when you looked at Sheree dance. I was like,
stop.
Dang, okay. She was like giving me all, like, she embodied the character. I was just a swing on the show, so I just kind of
not just because listen, the swing had to know everyone.
Let me tell you something. No, let me tell you something. I was like, please, Sheree, don't miss no days because I'm not trying to embody none of this stuff because when I tell you she was made for that part, she was made for that part. Because that show was not easy.
It wasn't. That was grueling.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most advanced Disney shows that I've ever seen because it was a lot of technique. It was a lot of moving parts. We had to work around live singers, a live orchestra. We had to do quick costume changes.
Actors that we hadn't worked with yet, actors and actresses. Like, I think this is a month too, even though we celebrate Black History, like, anyway, year round. We do it in this house too. But the first person out the gate, Viola Davis. I'm shaking thinking about it. Like, yeah,
that was. I just posted something. I think I just shared a post because we had a throwback picture, and it was our cast and the dancers with Viola Davis, and I'm like, that is an honor to even be able.
Alfred Woodard. I'm not going to keep naming them, and it's not to name drop like that, but it's just like how incredible. We were all handpicked, all of us, for something so incredible. That show just sends me. Sorry, sis, but like I want to go back.
Yeah, you know what? For a second, we thought they were going to bring it back, and that kind of brought me back to. I feel like I was probably in the best shape of my life because we kind of had a little bit of that training in some type of way because Christopher Adams would actually come in and work us out before we would do any rehearsal, which is why I'm like, you know what, this is really, I feel like dancers and entertainers or, you know, anyone that's in that type of industry should always keep their bodies moving. And he made sure we was moving things from like all the way down to our fingertips. We were warming up our toes. Like, you never think that stuff is important until like after the fact. And I'm like, if I can do this over again, I would do this a million times. And it was a show every day. Like every day we were around each other.
So we became like family. Seriously, it was like family. And I mean, just things would change even throughout the process. Shows up, things still changing. To navigate that just as an individual is a lot, but navigating it with a group of people can be a lot. Like you said, we had so many different moving parts. But I think the beauty of it was the way in which we came together as community in order to do it. Like even just as a cast of people, I couldn't, it just was like a literal dream come true for real. And it's like those opportunities and those things, I feel like how often do you get that, not whatever pun with Disney, but that magic, So.
Yeah, no, I think that was a good segue into, the fact that we were around each other so much and we got to sweat around each other every day. And, we talk about the importance of taking care of your body on the outside and the inside. Also, you also mentioned healthy eating. Do you think, this might be a petty question, But do you think it could contribute to a body odor? Because I've noticed a lot of professional dancers, if you're around someone in a show all day, every day, not everyone is going to keep it real with you and tell you, hey, you funky.
Right.
What are some things what's some advice that you would give to dancers who are new, were in the professional dance realm, and they're going to be around people often? Like, what are some tips and tricks that you would tell them as far as taking care of their bodies from the inside out, and like recognizing the importance of taking care of everything?
Right. So also may be petty and this may be silly, but to start off, when you said that, can you smell like what you put in your body? We all know if you eat garlic, it's coming out your pores. Not that it's not good for you, not that we don't love it. I do. You eat onions, it's happening for you. Mm-hmm. So think about what you take for lunch. Like, also be considerate that you're in a shared space with other people. Now, everyone has different dietary needs and concerns, but it's also, it's not lost on me that you can venture into areas or other spaces to have maybe what you want to eat or do, because I like all those things. Sometimes I might want it for lunch. Anyway, that's just a thought, especially if you think, like, we got to go waltz in a second. I just ate garlic and you just like the other person, like, I'm dying. But a toiletry bag, your deodorant, whatever. I know we've talked about this before too. My pH is not Victoria's pH. Like, our chemical balance is not the same. Get what works for you. Yes, Arm & Hammer may work for you, Dove may work for you, but don't just think because it's the hot thing or everybody's talking about it. It's not like mascara. So think about it. Like, spend time with yourself, knowing and understanding that for yourself. We had showers, for instance, at B&B. Be mindful and considerate so the next person will, but also don't be afraid to have, polite and respectful conversations with people about, like, hey, you left hair on the floor. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think everyone, was pretty respectful, like at my show, but not my show, but whatever, when I was there.
Your show.
But my show. But just like you don't think you taking your overnight bag somewhere, you're not gonna go to, so take your stuff, your soap, your deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, gum, whatever. Keep things. We have little desks. Like, keep it in there. Also keep it in your bag. You never know, like, what's gonna happen, what you're gonna do. Change your undergarments. Because if we're doing shows, 5 shows a day for a full work day, it's okay that you sweat. It's natural. It's also okay to change your drawers. I mean,
that's why I think it's more of a consideration thing. Like, if we smell ourselves before anyone else does, so I feel like if your nostril hairs are burning out, then somebody else's nostril hairs might be burning out. Like, I could smell a hint of tart. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, it's just a little bit tart. I'm instantly ready I'm like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. I need to go ahead and get rid of this funk I got. Just because I know, like, more than likely I'm either partnering with someone,
yes,
or I have to share like a shared space with them. I could be touring with them. Like, people will not book. Like, my god brother, he's a producer, and he's been on numerous tours, and he's just like, I've not, like, he decided to not hire people because they did not keep up their hygiene. That is a big deal.
Yeah, see, I'm reading the comments too.
I'm eating all the Indian food. That's nice, but I'm just telling you, if I smell it, I'm gonna be like, listen, it's a little bit tight. Like, my nostril hurts.
It's coming out of your pores.
Right.
But we operate in one of those professions where, I'm sure people think of this in office settings, like, who brought the fish today? I smelled it in the microwave, or whatever else. But if that's, the aroma is throughout the room, it's gonna journey with you on stage or wherever, So it's just like, be considerate, be, first of all, for yourself, like, just for you as a person, but then extend that same consideration to, your castmates and people that have to be this close to you. So, yeah.
Speaking of being this close to you, I'm gonna shift topics. This is another controversial thing that I've noticed that goes on in the dance industry, specifically more so professional dancers who are on like the, someone said the aroma. I'm telling you, you get that good whiff, I be over it. I'm like, listen, come on, we need to talk. I got some wet wipes in my bag, and let's go wipe it off first. Wipe the funk off, and then we're gonna put some deodorant on there.
Then you said something that some people think, don't just keep going back. You gotta cleanse the area first and then go back.
Listen, I be wanting to. I'm like, I want to fight. I want to fight every. Who talk?
Did you just?
Who raised me?
That's what I want to know. Who raised you? First of all, you can't go in the shower like I notice a lot of little boys do this, because my cousins, they used to do this. They'll go in the shower, jump in, and then hurry up and try to get out because they don't feel like doing it. I'm like, the funk ain't gone, bruh.
It's still
not
there.
Gone. It's still there. It is arisen.
Go handle it. Go handle it. We could go so deep into this topic.
Yeah, but it's crazy that this topic is so deep because we experience it all the time, and my nose be burning.
Yeah.
And I'm going to offer you a wet wipe. Now, if you don't take it, I'm putting it in your hand to tell you, listen, I am your partner. My nose is burning. You must take this wet wipe and wipe up under the pits or under somewhere. But I think that goes hand in hand with taking care of your body as well, because it's like, it's a temple.
It is, yes.
Put some good stuff in there, because whatever's in there, it comes out.
Exactly.
But speaking of this close to your face, let's talk about relationships. Ooh. Relationship. Ooh. 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 So I noticed the major stereotype in my arena of dancing when I was an NBA dancer. It was so much harder for me to date as an NBA dancer than it is for me to date now. And the reason I say that is because I feel like I never really get a real shot as a dancer, because automatically it's just like, you dance for who? What did you do? What kind of dancing you do? Oh no, you must talk to this so and so and so and so, and I'm like, dang, I never got a fair shot. So what I've noticed, I feel like I get people converse with me more and actually take the time out to get to know me when I don't tell them that I dance. But
do you think they're intimidated in a way as well? Do you think there's an intimidation factor?
It could be, but the thing is, if it's going to be like that, then don't approach me.
Right. That's true.
So with you, because you're married, how did you maintain such a solid relationship? Because I met you before you got married, and you were actually transitioning into getting married, and you were gone for a long period of time. How did you, manage to keep a relationship like that going, especially having the career that you have?
Right. So it's definitely about, what it continues to be about for Dustin and I, being intentional. Because if you're not intentional and don't set your specific intentions for the relationship, even aside from your career or within navigating a specific career, is doomed to have a lot of hiccups. I'm not saying necessarily fail, but we also had to work through those different hiccups. Like, I got, it's tough when you have an overnight, which is a literal overnight. And so you got to sleep during the day, and that person's gone. You might have that when you're going into a show for a week, or your hours are different. I'm living in a different time zone. So many things. So we both had to make sure that we were intentional. And in being intentional, it comes with knowing.
What happened?
Or the time, I can't stay up this late, Sheree. Tonight I'm just, I'm preparing for this at work or the like. But I think we were just very upfront, both of us, on both sides. What's your schedule? What you have going on, and what's the priority? Because if it's not a huge priority for you, it's not going, it's not going to work, especially when you want something serious. And I know we've talked about before too, happening upon people who it seems to work out because they have unique situations. We also had that extra layer. So Dustin and I had a, friendship like long before you know, we actually gonna venture into dating, let alone get married. But he respects my craft. He respects what I do. And he's not a creative in the same sense of what I do or that being his job, but you know, there's a creative side to him or a way that understands that and respects, you know, this is what you do. And I think because we began navigating it prior to marriage, so throughout, like you said, still leading into that engagement period, into being engaged, into getting married, it was something we were already accustomed to traversing, kind of. So, and I've talked to him about it before, and I'm sure he would say if it happened on the other side, I like Dustin too. No,
we love Dustin.
But no, he's awesome. Like he really is, because I've had some, you know, some situations, be it talking or actual relationships, where I just don't necessarily feel like dance, or the fact that I did it, I feel like it just kind of was viewed as more like for play, or like what I do is not as important as what you do, you know, having an office job or something else. And it sucks because I work hard for what I do. You know, I've gone to school twice, not tooting my horn at all, but like I went to school twice for it. Neither time was it a walk in the park. I'm doing both academics as well as actual movement and dancing. That's a hell of a load.
Respect on my craft.
Yeah, put some respect on it, you know? And so I don't diminish what other people do or what, you know, they do, because I you know, I respect whatever you have to do, because it's tough out here. But there have definitely been those relationships where I'm just like, so what I do ain't, you know, what you do, so you get the priority. And that's not what we do in this relationship. The priority is given to the communication factor, which leads into some of the give and take and the sacrifices. And sometimes it's true, one person will be sacrificing more than the other, but it's how you approach the conversations to then navigating through it, as well as being okay to know, like, you know, maybe I don't do this gig because is it going to be tougher on my family, especially now we have children, you know? Is it going to be tougher on my family or my husband, or is the time away worth XYZ? Is it advancing my career? Is it advancing us as a unit? Or is it something that might be kind of for play? So you have to become mature in that, as well as the creative, I will say, as the dancer, you know, in my case.
Do you think it's more, it's similar, so it's basically like a regular relationship where two people come together and it's more of a mutual respect and understanding? I just noticed I just was not so lucky in that department, because I've had guys who were upset with me just for going to an audition, and I'm like, nah, I've been talking about this audition for months, bro. Like, what do you mean? Well, we don't spend enough time together. I'm like, look, I already told you off rip, if this is going to be an issue, then, you know, maybe we're better off being friends. So I always wondered why a lot of people that I dated, they weren't as open to my lifestyle, or they weren't as accommodating to my life as I would be to theirs. So have you ever, before dating Dustin, have you ever run into a situation where you're just like, dang, we're just not understanding, you know, this and all that stuff? Like, what
Yes, and it's almost like, why are you here right now doing this? Why are you trying to go do that? Or what come? And I'm like, well, this is moving and shaking, you know, over here. Because for dancers, I feel like sometimes, depending on the jobs you take and what you do, you don't just automatically get your job back the next year. That's not how this works. You have to like audition again, or you're going up for contract negotiations. They can let you go. They say never mind, you know, typecasting, all those different factors. And I feel like I'm very transparent up front. Like anyone who knows me typically will just automatically associate me with dance. I work hard. I have worked hard. Beyond that, it's my passion. I think it's my God-given gift and talent. And it's the way in which I share, you know, and express myself and the like. But if I just feel like if I'm sharing with you, like I want to go to grad school now, or I'm sharing with you from here, I want to dance professionally, which may be, and I can't just give myself a job. I want to go to New York and audition for a season, or however. I think it becomes how, maybe at what point in the relationship, that could be a factor. But if I told you at the beginning and you do want to navigate towards something serious, or you're seriously thinking of dating me, you know all these things up front. So what gets me is when we trickle down the road, ease on down the road, and all of a sudden you shift. It's like, I'm doing the same things I was doing, you know. Or it's just like you have to say to that too. I honestly can't say I know this next audition that I feel like would advance my career is going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's there? So maybe you have the conversation too about like long distance before. It's not like you're maybe at the time you're not thinking about long distance tomorrow, but it's a possibility. Or you say rehearsals are tedious. You tell people that, and then it's just all of a sudden like questioning, like, you sure you rehearsing, or why rehearsal so long? And I can imagine, especially for you, it's like, you sure you ain't out with an NBA player? Like, you know, are you really rehearsing?
Oh, I've had that numerous times.
So I've definitely experienced it, and it's been like, you know, it's hurt in the ways in which I feel like what I do was being diminished, as well as kind of been like, okay, this ain't it, just because, you know, obviously you don't want to get it, because there's also a matter of wanting to understand. Do you want to understand? If you don't, just say that. Be real.
Well, we have Ty on here. He said it's not right, but sometimes people don't truly realize what they are getting themselves into. But I feel like even when I was heavily dancing, I would say exactly what it is. Hey, on these days I have rehearsals. Or on this day I have an audition. More than likely I will probably know about the audition, like maybe a week in advance. If it's a last minute one, it's just like, babe, I really gotta do this. But it's just like, it still just kind of went over their heads, and it was almost like they put themselves first versus like thinking of it, you know, from the other side, and just saying, hey, you know, this is my girl's passion. Like, she loves doing this. I've had auditions where I would invite my significant other to an audition. Now, keep in mind, I danced on the NBA team for 10 years. I can count on one hand the amount of people that I've invited that actually showed up, that I was dating. I can count on one hand the amount of guys that actually showed up that I was actually dating. Hold on, we have a question in the box. Do dancers prefer to date dancers? Oh, we talked about this earlier too.
We did. Now, I don't know. I think that's unique to each dancer. I'm kind of like, no. But see, because I know what I'll be getting myself into. No, but I'm not necessarily just like opposed to it, but they're interesting. Maybe because I've been exposed to some interesting happenings when dancers date dancers. Or maybe it all hasn't been platonic, like somebody thought, or not just that, somebody thinking for a relationship platonic, somebody else over here thinking something else going. It's just a lot. But and that comes with how we talked about just transparency of stuff on stage, and the discomfort of your you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, with like, do you have to kiss somebody? How close do you have to be to somebody? Or so on and so forth. But I don't know. What, was you date a dancer?
I don't know if I would, because I've never dated another dancer, like a professional dancer, but I've been around a lot of them, so it's just I don't know. It's almost like I can see maybe my brother or something like that in them, or I've seen them, you know, or I know about them because of the dance community, and it's just I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I would want to date another dancer. I'm not gonna say never. I'm never gonna say never. But right now I don't see myself dating another dancer, just because it's just, I don't know if we would be a match. I don't think we would be compatible.
It's interesting, and somebody said, "Is it that bad?" Because it's funny, because we're talking about like, respect us as dancers, but we don't want to date one. But it may be for us personally, in the sense of what we as women have seen about what we prefer personally, men, you know, and how they move.
And it's not even necessarily how they move. It's just like, it would be nice to kind of get away from dance from time to time. So when I come home, I probably don't want to talk about the next audition that you and I are going to be going to together. It might work for some. But for me, I'm not sure. Someone said, what if he's a member of the Jabberwockies? like I said, never going to say never. I'm never say never.
Right.
Just as far as like me pursuing another dancer, I don't see it. Like it would really have to just come and knock me upside like the head.
Right.
For that
And it's possible. Maybe it could happen.
Right.
Twitch and Allison.
Yeah.
Perfect example. They, yeah. You never know. I just think if it's right, you'll know it's right. So again, do dancers prefer to I don't know as far as like preference. Do you prefer one another? But I prefer an awesome human. Is what overall like whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
if you're nice,
yeah.
you're nice. But as far as like the dancers that I know right now, if you
right.
were asking me to choose from one of the dancers that I know right now,
right, it's a no.
It's a no for me, dog. Like they're really my friends. I see them like we see the most. They probably done seen me naked just because of quick changes. Like they're used to me and my foolery. Right. So it's just like I get it. It could be beneficial, but at the same time, I don't see myself going to pursue that.
Yeah.
So you guys have any questions for us? Go ahead and put it in the question box so I can share it with you guys and we can have some more discussions. Jabberwockies. Who is Mr. Freeze? Are you a?
That's my friend.
He been in here cutting up, and I live.
He's good for a good cut up. He is.
Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. Who else do we got in here? I respect that. Yeah, no, I mean it's not. And the thing is, I can't even say that I have a preference because all of the men that I've dated are completely different from each other. Like look wise, height wise, like. All over the place. Right. But I don't know. What do you have any final thoughts or does anyone have any final questions before we end this live? Or final thoughts of advice, words of encouragement?
I don't know what I have. Like movement is special and it's important, and that doesn't mean, you have to go to a dance class or you have to go to XYZ fitness class. I was just talking to a friend about this yesterday. But just consciously focusing on moving your body at some point during the day for however long it is. Put on your favorite song and move your body, rock around. But in times like this and just everything we're dealing with, like use it to decompress, but use it to send just the blood flowing through your system and release some energy. But I think it's important to invest in ourselves and our bodies, like we said, inside and out. And I would say too, I've been reflecting on this a lot lately, as far as like just even dreams go in general for whatever your career paths or just personal goals. Don't limit yourself, even by age or anything else, because I think I've talked to you personally before about like, oh, Victoria, like I'm just getting older, but I'm gonna keep moving even when I get a cane till I really have to sit down. But instead of also on the back end telling myself, oh, I'm old now or too old or whatever, like, no, if I'm taking care of myself, doing the best that I can for my body or my mental, spiritual health and everything included, how old is Tom Brady? How old is Serena? I saw that post recently, like, how old were these people when they got,
Right.
So, okay. And I mean, it might not look exactly how you want it to look, but nor did the Lion King, nor did the manifestation of that dream telling my mom, I'm going to do this one day. Didn't look how I thought it would, but it happened and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Right.
So, them knees get, what? I just really passed 30. They do. Go to Pilates. Go to Pilates. Hit me up. I'm gonna send you some Pilates videos, whoever you are.
Well, no, honestly, I'm probably gonna. I think just yesterday you were on live doing a couple of Pilates classes. So right now, if you guys get the chance, make sure you guys go follow Alicia Sheree on her Instagram because she has a lot of cool things and a lot of good content on there. And she also just did a Pilates class yesterday where I think someone talked you through different positions. I believe that live might actually be saved. So
it is.
I want to challenge you guys to actually take a dance class or, maybe take a stretch class just so you can see, how much work us dancers put into our craft just to kind of get a better understanding and a better respect for it. And, let us know if you would date a dancer. Comment on the video once I post it and just let me know, would you date a dancer? Would you go take a Pilates class? if you are
Let's
a
keep it
dancer, would you consider taking a Pilates class? So
You should.
you should. I'm going to because I need my legs back, girl. I want to get boobs. I miss that book.
And then
Dude.
oh,
Someone said I'm ready for you guys. He said I'm
Joe.
ready. I'm ready for you guys, sir, too. Whatever I say, y'all gotta do.
Let's keep it. I'm ready too. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Behind the scenes. Yeah.
I'll be taking some of your Pilates classes and your stretch classes so I can get back in there.
Yes.
Just special announcement, this will also be posted on my Victoria Rose Academy page because I will be bringing back Victoria Rose Pro Dance. So I can kind of segue into, pro dance segment for all of my young dancers out there who want to get into the professional field and, talk to a couple of professionals. If you go on my Facebook page, I actually have a couple of interviews already on there as far as coaches from other NBA dance teams who have co-ed squads as well as just regular squads. So if you want some tips and tricks to the game, even the music industry and wanting to dance on tour or how to book a gig, hit me up because that'll definitely be incorporated into Catch This Live because I'm bringing it all by.
I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, sis.
Keep it going.
Thanks, sis.
Keep it going.
I want you to have a really great rest of your night. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yes.
It was an honor just interviewing you because you're freaking awesome. But thank you guys so much for catching this live. I hope to catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Thank you.
But I got the reach. Pop lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't gotta preach. I just do what comes natural. 5-star, everything I see. Live large, no